morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are across the world, across the pond, in the US of A, wherever you are. Welcome to the RHMax channel. I'm Max, and today I am pumped. I got Costa with me today. Hopefully you've seen some of his live streams before. He's had some bangers. He's had some cool guests on. I was watching the one with Gunther, actually, the replay today. I don't know. I've been watching a lot of Gunther lately too, and of course Corey. So that was a good one. A lot of incredible stories. I had Gunther on the show the other day. Incredible story. Homeless to sleeping in his car, to all kinds of different crazy jobs and life situations, to a multi-millionaire, at least on paper, with HEX. So that's a great story. Definitely one I wanted to share, and I saw Corey got into it as well, and that's good for the community. Regardless of how you feel about Gunther, I like him. I haven't had any reason not to like him so far. Smart guy, knows a lot of stuff. Regardless how do you feel, that's a good story for HEX right there. Making those sweet time freedom money. Say hi to chat real quick. I saw Jerry and Alan in. Good morning, Vietnam. Are you actually in Vietnam, Alan? That's awesome. Like, glad to have some people from across the pond. I mean, way across the pond. Wow, you're like across far away. I've been to Vietnam actually. I've been to God, why is it? Ho Chi Minh City. There you go. Totally forgot. It's been a while, but I've been to Vietnam. So not sure if you're from the north or south, but I've been to the south. No, I'm not. Oh, I get it. Never mind. He's not in Vietnam. He is pun. That is a Robin Williams movie. Nice, Alan. You got me. You got me on that. What's up, David James? How's it going? Killing it, working those muscles out. You and Jim should get together and just work out together. You and him in the sand. You guys got some. I got a little bit of muscle, but not as much as you all. Boston, good to know where you're from, man. Awesome. Jerry was in here a minute ago. All right, that's a real HEX referring to BTC. I was thinking about that one, Jerry. I had to think about it. Anyways, without further ado, let's bring Corey in. Corey, welcome to RHMax channel.
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing? I'm glad to be here. I'm so happy that you thought about me and told me to come on your channel, and I'm happy to be here. I'm really appreciative of what you're doing. By the way, you have such a great introduction. I don't even have an introduction. My introduction is just me sitting on a plastic chair by a wall. So I really appreciate what you're doing in the HEX and PulseChain community. I see that your subscriber count has risen. I see you're almost at 700 subs now. Guys, if you've come over from my channel, which I know Alan is in here, who is a really big follower of mine, supporter. He's an awesome dude. Definitely give RHMax a sub. You know, people who create content in this channel on HEX and on PulseChain, they deserve to be heard. They deserve to have a voice, because without these content creators, and I'm not talking about just me, I'm talking about RHMax, I'm talking about anybody, the up and coming streamers are the future of content creators. They're the ones that are going to be able to connect with the new investors and the new individuals coming in to HEX. They're going to be more relatable than the OGs, in my opinion. So I just wanted to say that, and I wanted to say thank you so much, RHMax, for bringing me on, brother.
For sure. I mean, it's hard not to see what you're doing lately. You've been, I've been doing a lot of live streams, but I'm like, man, Corey's. I think, did you do two today? I think I saw you had one early, didn't you?
I did. Yeah, I did. One with Gunther at around midnight, around 10:30, but it went to 1 in the morning. Then I had one with Freddie Quotes. Then I have one with you. Tomorrow I have one with Origin Trail. Then I have one with Win-Win Casino. And so I have
5 in 2.5 days.
Yeah.
Sounds like.
Yeah.
Wow. I thought I was burning the midnight oil. You are you're killing it, man. You can't help but see you if you're doing that many streams and stuff. Are you clipping any content, or are you just doing the streams?
Am I what?
Are you clipping any of the content? Are you making clips, like doing any video editing? Like a lot of times I try to, when I do interviews and stuff, I'll try to clip out, tell me about, whatever interesting is going on. I'll try to clip content. Are you doing any of that? Or are you just sticking with just like straight interviews?
No, I'm doing straight interviews. I mean, so I do clip content for the actual team I work for in PulseChain, which is love.io. So let's say we're talking about a specific project, and then love.io is brought up, and I'm the one that's running the stream or the pre-recorded interview, and love.io comes up. I basically we'll clip that part out of the video and put it on our Love Community channel on YouTube as well, so that it can be seen on my channel and there, so it grows both of our channels synergistically.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's what's been. I just asked because that's what's been taking a lot of my time lately too. Is I'm focused on every interview. You know, I try to clip the content, and people seem to respond well to it. I think that's helped with my sub count too. Is getting these bite size. You know, I mean, it's a lot of work though. You know, after the interview, I go through. I listen, you know, I've got a preview of what I'm thinking of. I'm kind of like in between the interview. A lot of times I'm writing down some of the highlights so I won't forget. But I think, that's been helpful for growing the channel recently too. Is just clipping out the things that are interesting that I think people are, you know, searching for or looking for, or interested in clicking on, and getting the message out that way. So I'm learning. You know, I haven't been doing it very long. I'm learning all about media and production. And you know how to use Final Cut Pro and all that stuff too. But yeah, so far I'm enjoying it. I'm getting to meet a lot of people, good folks such as yourself come on. I learn. You know, people may learn stuff from the show. We got lots of stuff for the subs. So it's a win-win for the whole community, like you alluded to.
Hey man, you're doing a good job, man. I think the last time I looked at your channel was you had around 470 subs. Now you're at 700, man. Like I said, like. And you're putting a lot of work into your channel. Like you, that beginning, I don't even know how to put an intro in on StreamYard. So you're doing a lot of work. So good for you.
Canva.com. I use Canva for everything.
But you can actually link Canva to StreamYard. Is that even possible?
Oh no. So you can make an intro video. You can do things like that in Canva, and then you can export it and then upload it to StreamYard, and then use that as your intro, outro, stuff like that.
Oh, sweet. Nice. I didn't know that. Thanks for letting me know. So we learn stuff from each other. Thanks for letting me know about that.
Yeah. I didn't know you could do, I mean, I was talking to SJ the other day, and she's like, oh, I didn't know you could use Canva for videos. Yeah, you can. Canva's awesome. Like, so glad wife has a subscription. I'm like, yes, let me hop on that. I need to make some thumbnails, and then, I can make videos too. Cool. So feel free to check that out. Before we go any further, man, I don't know a lot about you. I mean, I know from watching your streams, I've learned some stuff from time to time. That's one of the things that got me interested in you, as I mentioned before, was, I saw the Gadsden flag on your wall. I'm like, libertarian or something of that nature. Yeah. And that's what got me like interested in interviewing you too, because, there's a few free market capitalists, libertarian, those types of people in the community. But I really like to get and talk about this stuff, because you can't talk about it with everyone, but the people who do, I love to get them on the show. So before we get into that though, can you just give me an intro? Like, what's your background? Where'd you come from? How'd you get in the community, crypto? How'd you find Richard Heart? All that good stuff.
Sure, brother. Sure. So first of all, I want to say thank you for the intro about my video with Gunther. It was a very sentimental video. He's actually the only individual I've ever met in person from the crypto sphere, besides my own friends that I've onboarded.
That's
so
awesome.
He's the only person. We had lunch. He lives not far from me. But so the funny part is, my background had absolutely nothing to do with cryptocurrency. So in 2013, I went to college. I got my associates in liberal arts. I graduated with a 3.3, and then I went to another college, and I got my bachelor's in history. I graduated with a 4.0 GPA. I graduated in 5 honor societies. I was the vice president of my fraternity, which I was in Kappa Sigma for a while. And then I went into a master's program in adolescent education / social studies to become a history teacher from grade 7 to 12. Graduated at that. I graduated, I think, with a 3.79 or 3.82. I don't know. But what happened was, while I was going to college, I was actually working at Petco. I was working with animals. I actually volunteer with animals now on Tuesdays. But I
once got bit by a guinea pig at Petco. Fun fact for you there.
I have 3 of them. That's why, actually, you want to hear something funny? I had to get this off of my wall, because the guinea pigs, when you have 3 of them, unfortunately, sometimes flies are part of the game. So I got to swat the flies.
Oh, wow. Dude,
so
that's a fun game to play inside your room. Absolutely.
So I was working at Petco, and this guy, his name was Daniel Gotch. I don't know where he is now. He was from Ohio. He moved to New York. He started working at Petco, and he brought up Bitcoin. And I heard about Bitcoin before. because I used to play World of Warcraft, and people used to call them like butt coins and make fun of them. Little did they know like what was happening. So he brought up to me, he's like, I was in Bitcoin and I made like 50, 60K. And for someone in college like me at the time, making $9.75 an hour, working 25 hours a week, paycheck to paycheck, I was like, wow, okay, all right. And this was May 2017. So basically what happened is unfortunately he got fired because there were veterans that were coming into the store and that couldn't afford the cat food or the dog food. He was actually paying out of his own pocket. And for some reason that went against company policy. So he got fired, but we stayed in touch. And he got me into cryptocurrency. He literally took me under his wing, taught me about exchanges, taught me about how to send money from one exchange to another, not to send Bitcoin to an Ethereum address and vice versa. And then I started doing my own research on peer-to-peer networks, blockchain sharding, smart contract technology, layer 1s, layer 2s, hash graph, what blockchain is, how it's a digital ledger, the libertarian ethos that was part of blockchain but is no longer, in my opinion. I'm sure we'll get into that in a little bit. And then he ended up disappearing. He moved to Ohio and built a house for his homeless cousins, and I haven't heard from him in a very long time. But I got into crypto, and I just took it upon a passion of mine. At first, I was just investing. I got in May 2017, and back then, if some of you weren't involved in crypto back in the day, it took like 7 days. And I think for some accounts it still does on Coinbase if you buy with your bank. And at the time, Ethereum was $70 or $80 or something along those lines. So then what happened is I put like $1,700 in or something like that. And in the 3 days that I waited, Ethereum went up to about 140. So basically $1,700 turned into $2,700. And I literally looked at this and I was like, wow, there's a way in life to make money while not having to work, just sitting basically on your butt doing nothing. Like, all right, this is something that I'm going to definitely take seriously. So I started looking into different cryptocurrencies at the time. I was involved in Substratum and Bitcoins and QuantStamp and Medical Chain, in Golem, Litecoin.
I remember Golem.
Yeah, Golem GNT, the computing power coin. I was involved, and then I saw my portfolio go up to 6 figures in 2018 because of Ethos and Substratum, but I was too naive to know what I had, and then the market collapsed in 2018. I had $1,300 from 120,000. I put in about $8,000 at the time. It collapsed on me, and then I was like, okay, there has to be a way for me to rebuild. I became very depressed, couldn't leave the house, gained a crap load of weight. So I started working in the space. I was like, I have to find a way to be able to make money in this space and invest without having to put any of my actual money in this market. So I found a cryptocurrency project that's no longer in existence, I believe, and it's called the Sharder Protocol. So I showed them that I could write because one of my main strengths in university was writing. And so I became their main writer and their Telegram administrator. But as that project kind of went down the tube, I started getting into a project called Icon, which is an interoperable blockchain protocol looking to interconnect different blockchains together, similar to like Polkadot or Cosmos. And I became their main ambassador, one of their main ambassadors for a very long time, creating validator meetings, interviewing people from the community about Icon. And I garnered a lot of networking and friends. Like, I don't know if anybody who are familiar, I'm friends with David Gochstein. He's got like 700,000 followers on Twitter. I'm very close with him. We actually live not far from one another. We just had a stream a few weeks ago. Nice. And then I left Icon because I sold out in May of 2021, about 5 days before Bitcoin went down to 28K when that crash happened. And my life took a total 180 where I decided, well, I don't like the public education system. I don't agree with what's going on in the public education system. I refuse to teach out of principle. So I'm going to find a way to make money in cryptocurrency going on. So then, by the way, I'm not talking too much, right?
No.
Okay. Just want to make sure.
This is your story. No, this is your story. I want to hear it.
All right, cool. All right, thanks, brother. So then what happened is in 2020 now. In 2021, I started to, in May 2021, I cashed out, and I was kind of in this state of confusion where I'm not, bro, I still live at home. I still live with my grandmother's. It's very difficult to live in New York, as probably many of you know. But I made it, for a 26-year-old kid, I made a very good amount of money. And but at the time, the market was still uncertain. I didn't know if I wanted to put any money in, and I was too frugal because I've never seen this type of money before. And I was like, well, there's got to be some way I can still be involved in this market without investing yet. So there was someone by the name of Harry, Liquid Markets. He's a very known contrarian in this market. Big PulseChain and PulseX bull. I'm actually streaming with him in, I think, 2 weeks. And he brought up PulseChain in one of his chats. And I got interested in PulseChain. And the funny part is, 5 days before that, I was at a transcendental meditation course. And one of the guys after the class was like, Corey, what do you do for a living? I was like, well, I was going to be a teacher, but I decided not to. I'm involved in cryptocurrency. And his wife looked at me with such a dirty look. She's like, please don't get him started. And he was like, well, I got into crypto in 2021. He was like, in the beginning of the year, he's like, have you ever heard of HEX? And I'm like, honestly, no. I was like, yeah, I've heard of HEX. I know who Richard Heart is, but I really don't have any interest in that project. And one of the reasons why was I actually got something in the mail about HEX. And I was like, what is this crap? Like, what is this, honestly? And
they're not going to get me.
What?
They're not going to get me, to get scammed.
Exactly. No, exactly. That's the way I was thinking. And then I learned about PulseChain, and I went into the PulseChain chat, and I started asking around for interviews and stuff like that. And I started making myself known in the community, trying to learn about the project. And I had my first interview with Eric, who's unfortunately not with us anymore. And I went from a dying YouTube channel with around 470 subscribers. And the second I started doing PulseChain content, my subscriber count, in my opinion, skyrocketed. And that's kind of where I am now today, where I work for a blockchain protocol called Argo, which is a hybrid blockchain protocol out of South Korea for enterprise and scale for enterprises, both large and small. They have NFTs. They have their own financial tools. I really enjoy working with them. They're great people, and I love the project. And I also work for a project in PulseChain called Love.io, which is a micro-tipping, censorship-resistant cryptocurrency that's aiming to give content creators like you and I our revenue streams back. Like, for example, if someone gave you money right now in a super chat, let's say you get $10, like YouTube's going to take like 30% of that most likely. Like Love.io kind of negates that. So I like that. My Love.io is also doing loyalty programs and donations and micro tipping and onboarding NFT artists and getting new capital into PulseChain. So I'm involved in that. So I work with Argo and Love, and then I do this stuff for PulseChain and HEX.
Nice. I think, unfortunately, I don't think Love.io is going to work for me. I'm holding out on monetization as long as I can. Just out of I just have this principle that I try my best. I've done this for a while now. I try my best not to be paid for any creative work I do.
Of course.
And I know that's like contrarian in so many different ways. And then people look at it, everyone, I'm not judging anyone who makes money off of anything, sponsorships, or wants to be paid for their work. I totally get it. Just, I always say like this, I'm in a fortunate position where I have a job. I don't need money from the internet, from streams, things like that, thankfully. So I want to separate the monetization from my creative work as much as possible. Now, one day, knock on wood, hopefully I don't need money. I don't need to make it from the stream, but I try to do that as much as possible.
No, of course, I understand that. 1 second, brother. I'm just going to turn my AC because it is very hot in New York right now. Just give me 1 second.
What's up, chat? I appreciate you all coming on. That was my monetization spiel. I don't talk about it. I try not to talk about it too much because I don't want to, alienate people who are making a living off this stuff and all that. But I want to say hi to the chat. Jerry was around a minute ago. He's making fun of my internet. Yeah, my internet does suck overall. But hey, I did a speed test right before the stream, and it is banging right now.
Yeah, let me see the chat.
I have very fast internet, and my latency is fine. Let's see who else we got. Dave James, there says Steve. Yeah, Steve's awesome too. Got to do a meetup with him and Valley Brand. We try to meet up on a regular basis as well. Some great folks around here. Sloth is in the house. Hey, what's up, man? Sloth's killing me. He's one of my favorite people to have on stream. One of my favorite. I'm not going to order a list rank you. This is a joke on Twitter we were talking about earlier. It's obviously between him and David Feeder. Okay, it's obvious. It's an inside joke.
David Feder's great. David Feder's great, man. I had him on a few days ago.
He is. I gotta have him on again. That was part of this Twitter thread. And anyway, I'm not gonna go into it, but it was this.
Yeah, he's a great dude.
Yeah, he's Speaking of clips, man, like I got so many good gems from that interview, just talking about PulseX. How to be a validator, like, oh my gosh, like he was killing it with content, and he's just super nice guy, super polite, just a sweet guy. Really appreciate being with him. Jerry's back. Thanks for letting us know. Appreciate that, Jerry. It's so you want to get into libertarianism? You want to go into that?
Yeah, let's go into libertarianism, bro. This is your stream, Mo. Ask me the questions, and I'll answer them to the best of my ability.
No, I'm not running for office yet. I try not to be too PC. I try to, as a libertarian, how can I be that PC? It kind of goes against a lot of the values of free speech, doesn't it? I can't.
I'm having a little trouble hearing you, brother.
Oh, I was saying I can't be too PC. It kind of goes against the values of libertarianism, free speech, all this stuff. And Sloth was making a joke that I have a pretty PC answer on the things.
Oh, I'm not PC on my channel. Don't you worry about that. So if you want, bro, it's your channel, man. You say what you do, what you want to do, man.
Yeah. No, let's get into it. Like, what is libertarian free carpet? Some people, Staked Wealth, I had him on the show a while back. He likes to refer to it a lot of times just to be more palatable for people as free market capitalism. I think there's a lot of overlap there. I'm not sure if it's euphemism for libertarianism, but there's a whole lot of overlap. So some people tend to identify in that way. But yeah, what is it? The whole, that sort of genre, that sort of a bundle of rights, if you will. What does it mean to you? Like, why is it important? How you describe the way you think about things? How does it relate to Bitcoin? And has that changed? You kind of talked about that brief on earlier as well.
Sure. No, and I appreciate that. And it comes with a lot of different components, libertarianism. So libertarianism was the primary ethos of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. This free market, laissez-faire, wealth of nations, Adam Smith mentality. I actually have the Wealth of Nations right behind me. A great book about the foundation of capitalism. But it's not by the benevolence of the baker, butcher, or brewer do we expect our dinner, but of their self-interest. Basically, what libertarianism is the idea of a smaller government, of an idealism that the free market is should be the dominant force, that laissez-faire capitalism should be the dominant force, that statism is the antithesis of what freedom stands for. And it's the idea in relation to Bitcoin that cryptocurrency and Bitcoin should be free from financial institutions and nation states, which will allow for a capitalistic globalized dream where people can participate in an all-encompassing inclusive economy where states and financial institutions don't have any power. And the problem with that, in my opinion, is that it's no longer in existence because we're seeing more of a progressive mind state now with the introduction of regulation and the veneration of nation states participating in Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, like El Salvador, like regulation coming in from the United States. And yes, that's great for the maturation of the market, but it's not good for its ideology. So libertarianism to me is basically small government, federalism, where states have a voice, where they're not completely over-encompassed by the federal government, where human beings have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, where the Bill of Rights are not taken for granted, where all individuals have the right to defend themselves, where all individuals have the right to the involvement of a free market without the necessity or the enforcement of the state. And not to mention, we're not talking, libertarianism is not anarchy. So I want people to understand that libertarianism does come with a form of government. It's just a lot smaller. Think about like Ron Paul type mind state. So I think libertarianism is something that's very important in the modern world because digitization has made government a lot bigger. And cryptocurrency is trying to negate that. But my fear is that it's not doing it anymore. In 2017, I felt like that was the last light of libertarianism in Bitcoin. And now it's just, how do nation states adopt Bitcoin? How do we get this market to be mass adopted? How does cryptocurrency become adopted by financial institutions? And you don't realize that by doing this, you're basically giving all this power to like BlackRock, to like Citadel, where retail investors, the free market in essence, the free market capitalists, the retail traders that are just looking to participate are going to get destroyed, and they're getting destroyed. And you see that a lot in bear markets specifically. And that's what I view libertarianism as a small government, as an emphasis on enterprise with less government oversight and maximum freedom. That's the way I could say it. Libertarianism is maximum freedom. Am I a libertarian? I have a lot of libertarian virtues. I'm not going to lie. I believe in the right to bear arms highly. As you guys see, I have a Gadsden flag in the back. Well, not right now, but because I don't want you guys to see my twin size bed. But I have a. I believe
gotta get the king size, man.
I know.
Gonna drop it off at your house if you don't do it yourself. He will help.
I know. I believe in the right to bear arms. I believe in freedom of speech. I despise woke culture with a burning passion. I despise this cancel PC culture. I think it's the antithesis of what the United States should stand for in the West. I believe that America and the West has gone from a free market enterprise type economy to a more corporate autocracy, similarly to the way it was in the 1890s, where government and corporations were intertwined until the antitrust laws came in. So, and especially now with the internet allows for governments to globally connect and shut down any sense of opinion. And we see that on Twitter and social media, where specific political ideologies are censored, are silenced, are shadow banned, are manipulated. So yeah, that's my view on libertarianism.
Funny enough, the government doesn't have to do a whole lot because the social media platforms are doing it for them.
Yeah, exactly.
It's I mean, one thing that I think can sell a lot of people on libertarianism and some of the ideas and practices and why it's healthy and useful and all this stuff is just the local view of doing things, culture, the self-sufficient type of attitude, the real it's not the pick yourself up by your bootstraps. I mean, it can be interpreted that way too, but it's more of a self-sovereignty, being able to just not rely on the government to take care of you and all this stuff. But the local aspect, I think, is really powerful because it can when you have a large enough country, people are going to have different ideas.
Yep. And
in the United States, you can move to, if you have different ideas about taxation or about the things you enjoy and the things you want to do and the people you want to be around, you can move state to state freely. We have that. Not all the countries have that, and that's definitely a benefit for the United States. But the local aspect of letting people decide who live there in their community, municipality, all things like that, what they want to put up with, what they want to enforce, and what they like and value is one of the most powerful things that I think you can sell people on. You don't have to be a gun nut. You don't have to be an anarchist. All this stuff, those are just, not like, it's like, somebody said the other day about libertarianism. Oh, they all see all these like really extreme radical versions of it. And it's like, is there one version of Christianity?
No, there's not.
There one version of, it's like, there's the people who are a little crazy, and there's people that are, you can see it's reasonable, rational, and there's people that barely practice, and there's everything in between. So I think it gets a bad rap just because, the news and everything else always shows the radical versions of it. And, there's there's a little bit, they say in every joke there's a little bit of truth. In every
Amen.
different sect, there's an ideal behind it that they maybe took and either ran with too far, or maybe they got a point in certain ways too. And you got to decide that for yourself. But the fact is, you can decide that for yourself. You have freedom of speech, freedom of thought. You have personal sovereignty. And it just seems like, like going back to social media, it's like the government don't even have, they're just a lot of times it just seems like they're just sitting back like, they're kind of doing their job for us. I mean, they're doing the things that we couldn't come out and do because people would protest, but hey, don't come on the platform you don't like it. We all know powerful platforms, and that's funny. That's actually an interesting intersection of libertarianism, where you could say, oh, if you don't like it, don't use the service. And that's the strong, libertarian point of like everyone has their own ability to produce what they like and kick people in and out of their service and property rights and all this stuff. But I would say that's one of the few limits. So there's two limits I would say in this ideal world that I would put libertarian version of things. One would be moving jobs out of the country. I think I'm okay with the government heavily incentivizing companies to make it in their best interest to keep jobs inside the country to help the local people, because I think that makes a healthy society. Yes. I'm okay with limitations on corporations for that type of stuff, because I think that's a good trade-off.
Of course.
And the other one is the ability, so the censorship part. I'm okay if I woke up one day and saw on Twitter, the news or whatever, that antitrust is going down on Facebook, going down on Twitter, going down on YouTube, all these different things, and they make it in a way that you have to be transparent. There has to be an appeal process for everyone, not just the people who have thousands of subs and all this stuff. And they make it and it's not the Ministry of Truth stuff, but it's like, hey, you have to treat everyone fairly and give them a chance to explain. You can't just auto ban and shadow ban and all this stuff. I'd be okay with that. So there's a couple limitations on, even though it's not the, like you mentioned, it's not the all systems go, everything goes anarchy type of stuff. There are, you need a strong military. You got to believe in that. You got to protect the country. They disagree on other things like universal health care and universal basic income and all this stuff too. But there are certain things that you need to provide a functional country. And I think libertarianism holds a lot of those values like very close to the heart and in a very healthy way. And that's what got me so passionate about it.
Yeah, man. And even James Madison basically said in Federalist, it was either Federalist Paper 41 or 10, I don't really remember. It basically said, because representative republicanism was really not a thing, with the exception of the Roman Republic and Greek city-states. And with a country as large as the United States, with their belief of manifest destiny, there was this concept during the early colonies that a representative republic, a democracy or representative republic may not work because the country is too large. So James Madison would argue that there was a major value in state and local governments, that a government in Illinois should not be influencing the culture and government of someone in Alabama and vice versa. So I believe in that cultural right. I believe in that notion of regionalism that makes the culture of the United States so diverse and so, I would say, unique.
Yeah, it lets groups who form together thrive and become the best versions of themselves, fulfill their potential without having to be regulated out of existence, is what they would apply to a lot of businesses and things these days.
Of course.
So you mentioned too earlier, you used to think Bitcoin is more libertarian, but it's changed. Is that right?
Yes, absolutely.
How would you describe the changes that have happened for the past few years with it?
Sure. So you have BlackRock, you have Citadel, you have Michael Saylor with MicroStrategy, you have El Salvador adopting Bitcoin, you have multitudes of laws coming out of the United States for regulatory measures, you have the European Union now focusing on cryptocurrency, you had a law in New York I'm not sure if it passed or not, but last week, banning mining. Bitcoin and cryptocurrency has become a lot more centralized than it was supposed to be. It has become more along lines, and I call this the angelic effect. When the government comes in, you said it before brilliantly, you highlighted that reliancy. There's a lot of reliancy on the state nowadays. And you're seeing that in cryptocurrency. And it's just very peculiar to me that the state usually comes in on during the euphoric stage where they know when people are going to lose money, and then they start implementing things during bear markets, because then people who have lost everything, people who have lost everything
They're at their weakest.
Are at their weakest, and they know that they can come in with their angelic wings and they can say, we're here to save you. We're here to save your retirement. But just let us tweak this a little bit. Let us add a little bit of our own twist. Let us have our own CBDCs. Let us have our hold in Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. Let us have some reserves in this. Okay, let us make regulation, massive amounts of regulation that are coming in. Okay. And people won't care because it pumps our bags. And let's be honest, a lot of people, actually, I would say everyone in here is here to make money. But my fear is that the promise of opulence is threatening the idealism and virtues of what blockchain once stood for: decentralization, peer-to-peer interaction, the enforcement of this libertarian virtue. And I don't see that anymore. I see an ecosystem that is slowly becoming so reliant on these institutions and these nations to create a sense of adoption that the libertarian notion of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is all but collapsed. It really has. Like I really think that like the only thing that maybe would save cryptocurrency would be in respect to decentralization is DAOs. But there was just a leak 2 days ago, if you saw, that DAOs would have to register, and like come on now.
I don't think that's going to go through. I think that's a little crazy.
It's ridiculous. Like, it's a decentralized autonomous organization. If it was a cow, like a centralized autonomous organization, all right. But like that means like decentralized or autonomous organizations like Cult DAO, like Unified DAO, like all these different DAOs are going to now have to register with the federal government. Get the hell out of here. That's bullshit.
Or only be available in Singapore.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
That's what's going to happen. If they try to do stuff like that, like, all right, we'll just put on some nodes in Singapore, it'll be fine. Or somewhere else that's friendly to regulation. It's like they can't regulate it all like that.
They can't.
You'll just go to the place that gives you a better deal. That's what always happens.
It's very true. And I feel like the entrepreneurial spirit of America is being threatened from this regulation. I mean, I live in New York, for example. I can't use Bittrex. I can't use Binance. I can't use Binance.us. I can't use Kraken. I can use Coinbase. I can use Gemini. I can use CoinX. I can use KuCoin without KYCing, and the DEX exchanges.
Shout out to KuCoin. That's thanks for keeping that still a feature.
Yeah, man, for real. Without KuCoin, man, my options would be very, very limited, and it's been like that for a while. Actually, something I'll tell you a little story, a little terrifying here. When I cashed out of cryptocurrency in May 2021, when I sold my Icon, I had to use a application called SimpleSwap, and SimpleSwap did not work in 3 countries: North Korea, Iran, and the United States. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna keep it at that. So
what do those 3 have in common?
Despotism.
Yeah.
And so what happened is I sent $100,000 one time and it went through. Then I was like, I'm just gonna send the rest. I sent another $100,000, and my account was flagged, and I was terrified. I was like, all right, now I made $100,000, but now $100,000 is stuck in this SimpleSwap. So I had to wait like 4 hours for a response, and they're like, well, you're not allowed to use this. You're a U.S. customer. What we're going to do is we're going to send you your money, but we're going to blacklist this address. I'm like, that's totally fine. I'm sorry. I didn't know. But like, that's the hops and leaps I had to go through to sell out. It's ridiculous, and especially in New York, which has the most stringent cryptocurrency laws in America, hands down, in the United States.
That's crazy, man. Yeah.
It's horrible.
Is there a way to that you can see to get mad gains and keep a lot of those self-sovereignty values with Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies at large? Is there a way to do it without sacrificing the growth that everyone wants to see?
That's a very good question. I think we were able to do it from 2013 to 2017. I don't think it's possible now, unless you find these anomaly projects that skyrocket. Like, for example, like Unified DAO. A lot of people didn't see this yesterday, but it skyrocketed 900% yesterday. And I actually did an interview with Unified DAO like 2 years ago because they were working with Icon. But it was terrible because of the fact that it's a double-edged sword now. It's like, I want to be in this to become rich. I know for a fact that the only way I'm going to become rich is if I find the right
Lord and Savior, Richard Heart.
Yeah, exactly, Richard Heart. Or the state comes in and legitimizes this space, and basically all the coins rise with the tide. It's a very unfortunate circumstance here.
Yeah.
So I think that it's possible. I definitely think it's possible that we can make money without doing this, without the state. But I do think as more and more as this blockchain ecosystem becomes adopted, it's going to be more and more dependent on the laws and regulations of the state that will determine bear and bull markets. Because if you weren't here in 2018, if for anybody in the audience that wasn't here during 2018's crash, the main catalyst of why cryptocurrency crashed was because South Korea banned ICOs, and that's what caused.
I remember that.
Yeah, that's what caused the cryptocurrency market to collapse. And then what happened is Bitcoin was in April declared halal, which means permitted in the Islamic world, and Bitcoin started going up. And in May of 2020, you had Congress talking about how this was a very lucrative and innovative ecosystem, and that brought Bitcoin back up to 12K, which kind of proves the point here that the state came in, collapsed the market, and then brought it back up. So,
interesting. Yeah, that's quite a timeline too. That's I remember Christmas 2016. That's when you're talking with the family and everything's good. You got that one cousin who's into crypto, and you're like, "Oh man, you're into crypto too. Cool, everything's going good. We're all gonna be rich, right?" And then like January, February, like, "Oh, well, I got a little dip here. Everybody buying the dip? You all doing good? You buying the dip?" And then March, April, May, you're like, "Think it's going to go back up, right? It's going to go back. Like it's going to go back up. This is your first bear market to it. Yeah, it'll probably go back up. Like crypto's doing good, right?" And then you get to later that year, and you're just like,
"Yep."
It was horrible. So yeah, if you haven't been through a bear market before, I imagine a lot of you haven't who may be watching. I've talked a lot about it before. Hey, go look at the charts. It usually goes back up. Not financial advice. It usually goes back up.
Yep.
I mean, I don't, knock on wood, there's not World War III, meteor, asteroid, imaginary horrible sprayed, all that stuff. But oh my gosh, just look at what's happened in the past. Like this is like one that, Corey's a history buff. Look at what's happened in the past and look at the charts. You have all the data you need. Try to keep your negative emotions out of it. And if you believe crypto is not going to die in a year or two, if you believe that, why are you in it in the first place? If you believe it's going to survive, look at the charts and see what's happened to people who's held on before. I'll say that.
It's true.
I want to say hi to the chat real quick. Chat, you're killing it. Valley Brand was in here a second ago too. He may still be. Appreciate your support. I want to say to everyone who's not subscribed, so take a look at your YouTube window real quick. I'll give you a second. If you see a button that says subscribe and it's not already got a check mark, it's not already filled in and all that stuff, please tick that button. And if you want to get a notification every time I go live or post a video, click the all bell. And I know you've already liked the video. Sure, I'm going to give you the credit. You've already liked the video. Don't worry about that. But if you're not subscribed, please subscribe because that's that's how the metrics work in our favor to keep producing this content. Like I can reach more people. Me and Corey can reach more people. The more numbers that go up. Guys. We want numbers go up to reach more people, have more content, and be able to get feedback and produce more of the stuff that you all like. So take a second if you haven't already, hit that sub button. Super appreciate it. Chris J. Hex in the house. Thanks for coming, man. Valley Brand says bear market's the best opportunities outside of returns.
Valley Brand's in here? What's up, dude?
Oh yeah.
See, I can't see the chat, but I can see like the little messages.
Oh yeah. Valley's here. That's enough said right there.
Valley Brand's awesome, man.
See, hey, I watch and hang out with him as much as I can. We we have a local group here, and it's always fun hanging out with the guys. Jerry's got a question though. I've heard you sold in May 2021. Can you tell us the story of events that led up to the sale? He was talking about the icon sale.
What is he asking me?
I've heard you sold in May 2021. Can you tell us the story of events that led up to that sale?
The events that led up to that sell, sure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I've heard you sold. Okay, can you tell us the story of the events that led up to the sell? Okay, so I was in Icon, and I loved the project. I was literally married to that project. I remember
Icon.
Icon, yeah. I was a PREP validator, basically in a delegated proof of stake protocol, and I was on these teams called PREPs. They were basically public representatives that were validators, kind of similarly to the way you think of validators in PulseChain. So in May, I was about to graduate, and I was thinking to myself, okay, Bitcoin just hit an all-time high. Things are really starting to look ugly. Call it intuition, call it what you want. I was also getting a little disgruntled that the protocol was not marketing the way I liked. I didn't like the infighting between validators that I saw. And I had a lot of Icon at the time. I had like 130,000 Icon. And this was around when Icon was like $1.90. So I thought to myself, I'm like, okay, this market looks like crap. And this had nothing to do with charts. I am not a charter. I do not do TA. Like I don't do any TA. I don't know anything about TA. I want to make that clear. It was just intuition. I thought to myself, I called my friend. I was on my way home from my dad's. I'm like, listen, like this market right now looks like it's going to crash. The market's slowly going down. You had this euphoric phase for altcoins where people were going nuts. And I started seeing a cool off. And I called my friend up and I was like, buddy, we got to get out of this. Like, we may miss out on some gains, but I think you and I, for two 25-year-old men at the time, we made enough money that we can now, for the next time around when this market crashes, let's do it. Let's get out of here. So I got home and I sold, and lo and behold, 2 days later or 3, I sold, and the market collapsed and Bitcoin went down to around, I think it was 27K, and then it recovered. And that was also the same week that I graduated as well. So I was like, okay, I'm entering the real world now. I have an opportunity where if I don't cash out right now and this market collapses, I will have no choice but to sacrifice my principles and go do a job that has been defiled, that I did once love, but I no longer appreciate. So I was like, do I create a nest egg right now and sell when I'm seeing all the signs of a market bleeding out and I'm also not happy with what I'm seeing in this protocol? I was like, and there was more money that I've seen basically in my life. I was like, you know what? Yeah, I got to pull the trigger. And that's what I did. I pulled the trigger. My friend sold his Cardano. I sold my Icon. And yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's, I think everyone's got that story of how they barely got out with their money. Interesting that how you, and so is that when you sent it to
Simple
exchange,
Swap.
You had the problem too?
Yeah. Simple Swap. Yep. Guys, smash up the thumbs up and subscribe to him, guys. He's a great interviewer. Subscribe to him.
No pressure.
Oh, no, there is pressure. Yeah. Subscribe to him.
Thanks, man. Hey, I wanted to give a pro tip too. You talked about transfers and stuff on Coinbase, and I had something that I want to share too.
Sure.
What worked out, I've seen work out good before. If you're looking to get a fast transfer, if you're going from Coinbase, your bank account, cash, however you do it, to ETH, USDC, or whatever. And if you want to get HEX, you want to get whatever it is. Mm-hmm. If you, instead of buying ETH, if you buy USDC, It may get a much faster be able to transfer out of the account. A lot of times it seems like, at least in the past, they put holds on ETH, and depending on the amount of money and all this stuff, but I've seen it where you're like, oh my God, I put in this money and now I can't touch it for 10 days. You're like, oh my God, like
It's
what is
scary.
wrong with you? It sucks. And then if you use a wire, funny enough, they say 1 to 3 days, but I've seen wires go through in the same day. So if you're trying to get into a coin really quickly, and you can pay $10, $25 or whatever, it may be free at your bank to do a wire to Coinbase, it seems to work really well. And there's no I didn't see any waiting time to transfer. So pro tip, if anyone wants to get in and out of or get into a coin really quickly through your bank, through Coinbase, that's what I've seen success with in the past.
Absolutely. I remember when Coinbase had like 3 people, when you called them, it took like 2.5 hours for them to even answer the phone, and then they would hang up on you.
Wow. Yeah, they've I don't know, they got billions of dollars now. They probably hired at least like 3 more people, I think, to support the department.
No problem, Jerry.
Yeah, thanks. A good question too, Jerry. So I want to know about the bear market too. I know everyone's, we talked about, we said, don't worry about it. We said, this is, it's obviously, if you look at the chart, it always goes back up, all this stuff. What are some of the most important things you can think to do in a bear market for people out there, besides not panicking and all this stuff?
Sure. So you basically said, besides not panicking, and I think emotion is the death sentence for a lot of people. I think it's a dangerous game. I think most people invest in euphoria and capitulation. Like, these markets are designed for winners and losers. If you invest during euphoria, you're either going to make somewhat money or you're not going to sell, because you're just going to think it's keep going up and up and up and up and up. And then during capitulation, you're going to be terrified your asset is not going to recover. So is
that the tragedy of human emotion, where you only want to do something when you're highly motivated, like the euphoria point?
Yeah. And then that guy, and then euphoria like clouds your sense of clarity. And what I would say during a bear market is this: find avenues of passive income, find different protocols like HEX that offer staking, that offer passive income, that offer the ability for you to garner wealth so that you can invest when this market continues to bleed out. Personally, no one knows when the market's going to end, when the bear market's going to end. It's a very difficult question that I don't think anybody could really answer. But I think that the main focus in a bear market is to look at those projects that are still working. Look at those projects that you believe, based on personal research, will survive. Look at those projects that have survived other crashes that still exist today. Like, for example, 2017, Bitcoin and Ethereum, they're still around. You look at these projects and you see if they've survived and that they can thrive throughout a bear market. Look for the builders. Look at the founders who don't give up. Look at the teams that continue to grow despite price fluctuation. Look at the team's emotional standpoint. If these people are emotional during a bear market, chances are their project's in trouble. So I would say it's all based on watching things in accordance to emotion. But that's a big deal. Like, if watching things in accordance to emotion through a logical lens. If you can see people are starting to become emotional in the projects you're in, it's time to question the projects you're in. If you look at things from a logical standpoint, it's very easy to navigate what can make money and what can't. So right now, for example, there's a lot of divisiveness in the HEX community. And the reason why, I can guarantee, is because since HEX came out in 2019, the people who invested in HEX did not experience the totality of the bear market that happened in 2018. They've never experienced anything like this. So they just understood a market that had its ups and downs, but they were in a euphoric bull market, biggest one we've ever seen. And now you see people fighting, and there's infighting. And I think the infighting is unnecessary. And I think it's just showing the colors of people who are overextended. That's another thing. Don't ever overextend yourself. Like, guys, if you put, like, I see a lot of people who are disgruntled about PulseChain and PulseX not releasing, and trust me, it's annoying to wait. I get it. But, like, if you put your whole life savings into this, like, you're overextended. Like, you got to have some sense of prudence in this market. This is the most volatile asset class to ever exist. I did that in 2017, and I learned a harsh lesson. And I'll say, like, guys, like, only invest what you can afford to lose, because this is a speculative market. And during a bear market, the majority of the projects you saw thrive in a bull market may not be here next time around. They may not. So that's my advice for people in a bear market.
Yeah, I would just add to that, learning, being able to take a step back, look at your financial plan, understand the decisions you made before, your past self. Were they the right decisions? Do you need to pivot? Do you need to reshuffle? Like, are you staked? Do you want to stake? Like go through scenarios. Okay, if I stake for a year, 5 years, 10 years, if I stake for 3 months, what are the benefits? What are the pros and cons? Yep. This is the time to make yourself better, because it's, bear markets, they're usually pretty boring, right? There are a lot of negative emotions. There are a lot of little ups and downs. There's a little bit of hopium, but overall, bull market is when, oh my gosh, this one's going crazy. Oh, this one's flying over here. Oh, this new project just launched. That's when you're going to be distracted and you're not going to be able to learn as much as you can now. So this is where you get the books out. You get the training videos. Yep. Hopefully we're giving you content that you can learn from and get better yourself. And that's one of our jobs as well, me and Corey. And the second thing I would say is that you talked about projects and seeing which ones, have confidence, are keeping the train moving, are pushing forward. Yep. That's what I like about having my investments in the Richard Heart ecosystem. Mm-hmm. I see people who, everyone's hanging on the edge, wishing PulseChain was here. They thought it'd be here 6 months ago, blah, blah, blah. But they are getting their stuff ready. They're getting their stuff together. They, got liquid loans, Mintra, Maxis are. A lot of projects are already launched. You're going to get double those coins on PulseChain. Some of them are going to launch probably around the time PulseChain launches, or a little bit before, a little bit after. So being in this type of ecosystem where everyone kind of knows what's going on, they know, they're putting their bets in different places, and they're all incentivized in a way to like, just like Richard, like I said yesterday on the stream, trickle down glory. Richard's in it for glory, and that's a good thing because you have trickle down glory. The storm rises all boats, right? Mm-hmm. The more powerful, the richer, the more popular he gets, the people who follow him, invest in his products, things like that, we're going to get a piece too. Exactly. If you put your money in the right directions and all that, of course, it's up to you to make these decisions, but that's the opportunity you have here. And being in the ecosystem, seeing everyone so aligned towards making sure in a healthy, sustainable, integrity-filled way, price go up. And hey, let's solve some problems along the way too. Like you said earlier, everyone's here to get rich. There's a reason people are watching the stream. There's a reason we're doing this stream. There's a reason there's so many people in crypto. They want their time back. They want to not have to work for the rest of their life. And how do you do that? Means to an end. Make more money. And you don't do it by working 9 to 5 for the rest of your life. You can do it. That's the hard way. Easy way, the diligent way, the smart way, that's cryptocurrency.
Amen to that.
Yeah, man, you got me going. You got me rolling right now.
No, man, it's your show, man. I like your mind state, man. I agree with you on everything you're saying. It's so true, and I feel that a lot of people who got into blockchain this time around, just like how people like me got in 2017, didn't understand that this market, when it goes down, it goes down. And you need to be prepared for it. You need to be prepared about the understanding of what happens to this market when things go sour. And I have to say, Richard Heart, like you said, Richard Heart just followed me a couple days ago.
Nice.
And I got 200 followers from it. And I've gotten 250 subs from it. And like you said, he wants the glory. The glory trickles down for everyone that are involved in this ecosystem. As he grows, we grow, because we're the ones that are basically the the team that's creating the marketing, besides what he's doing, creating the educational content. Like this is something that needs to happen from a universal standpoint. And that's why I say, like, for the people watching, like, subscribe to RHMax's channel. All it takes is clicking a button. Like, it really, I mean, all it really does, like, that really helps content creators. And like the way that you're gonna make people find out about HEX and PulseChain is supporting content creators, supporting people like RHMax that are up and coming. Like, this is not, it ain't hard, guys, to click a damn button. So, I would definitely agree that it's very important for all of us to stay united as a community, because I'm seeing a lot of divisiveness right now. Maximalism versus third-party projects. The price is dropping. Now this project's not going to recover. I've seen people saying, "Oh, I don't know what to do. I invested at 40 cents and now it's 5 cents. What do I do?" This market's intimidating. No one said it wasn't, but it's time in the market is more important than time in the market, because no one is able to time this market. Like, it's just hard. It's difficult. So with that being said, like, support your favorite content creators. Support the people that are giving you content that's educational, that's spreading Richard Heart's message, or any cryptocurrency that you're involved in. I mean, I don't just interview PulseChain and HEX-oriented projects. Like, I span out, because I think it's very important to amalgamate different communities together. So that's what I've been doing. Like, tomorrow I have a project. I have a live stream with Origin Trail, which is completely, it has nothing to do with HEX or PulseChain. So
yeah, I recently got in touch with, I had some Decentraland mana folks comment on some of the stream. I'm like, oh gosh, yes, please. Would you be interested in doing an interview? I'd love to collaborate with other communities and just, awesome. I think Decentraland's awesome anyways. Like, I know it's got some gas fee problems and that's a whole ETH deal, but it's, if you ever played it before, have you ever got on there and actually like played around and walked around and talked to people?
No, I haven't. Like, I've had my little sense of like the metaverse on like the Oculus, but like the funny part is that like when I go into the metaverse, like after like an hour, I get so dizzy. So it's like,
okay.
Yeah.
I didn't put on the goggles and do it. I just literally, I mean, it's a finished product, man. You get on there with your web browser, you get on there and it works. You walk around, you talk to people. I mean, I have no strong feeling towards metaverse or any of this stuff in general, but I just thought, wow, somebody in crypto actually shipped something that lived up to what they said it's going to do. Like, it is, you can buy land, you can sell land, you can walk around and talk to people. And I have a lot of respect for people who ship things. And that's, PulseChain's coming. It's coming. It's coming, baby. I want to ask too, like, how has HEX, PulseChain's not here yet, obviously, but like, how has HEX helped you? And I guess HEX and Richard Heart in general, how has it helped you in life? Like, what has changed about your life after, either making money or just investing or delayed gratification or just listening to Richard? Like, how's your life been better? And maybe how's it been worse too, if you have anything?
You said, what was the last part? How's it been worse?
Yeah. Is there anything has it downgraded your experience in anything that you wish it wouldn't have either?
No, there has been absolutely no downgrading of my experience whatsoever. I have to say that this is a very unique community. This is a very supportive community. This is a community that I have not experienced in my entire 5 years of blockchain. I have to say it's a very unique and strong community that's very supportive. So the positives of this, like, I've not made any money on HEX. Like, I didn't, to be completely transparent, like, I didn't invest in HEX. Like, I bought like a very small amount like 2 weeks ago. I bought like 8,000 HEX. I don't really have that much. And I'm waiting to see if it'll go lower. I think the macroeconomic structure right now in the world looks terrible. I mean, you have rising gas prices. You have a possible third world war in Ukraine. You have you have a housing bubble that just won't crash. You have all the signs of a recession. So I think the macroeconomic structure right now looks like garbage, and I think that cash is going to become king again. And I think risk on assets are going to go down, and we see that, and that's apparent right now what's happening with cryptocurrency and the price valuations. But with that being said, money is not always everything that changes your life. HEX and PulseChain, the community, has given me a legitimate reason to get up and do streams, to get up and give people voices, to get up and create a sense of influence in my own brand. Like, I never knew I was going to make my own brand. I had no, bro, I went to school to be a teacher, not a branding marketer. Like that was not my thing. So Hex and PulseChain has changed my life personally because of the fact that the community has been so supportive that I actually now have a YouTube channel that is large enough where people, when I tell them, yeah, I got a YouTube channel, I got like 3,400 subs, they're like, they look at you and they look at you with a sense of respect. They look at you like you know what you're talking about. And the ability just to ask someone randomly that's well known in the community, be like, hey, you want to come on an interview for like an hour and just talk? And then you learn about them and you learn about their experiences. Like what happened with Gunther? Like I've known Gunther for a year. I met him at a restaurant near me in, I don't know, around September, October. Mm-hmm. So it's changed my life because it's put me in a community that actually, I don't know, cares about what you have to say. That it's a community that supports you. It's a community that will share your content. It's a community that, like, bro, I started my channel again in 2019. And when 2021 came along, I only had 500 subs. I was a dying channel. And the second I got into PulseChain and HEX, man, my channel skyrocketed. Richard Hart tweeted one of my YouTube interviews, actually with Hodpril. It's my most viewed video. It has almost 10,000 views. And I have him to thank for that. And I have him as a person who follows me and a person who has supported me in the past and the community to thank in a way that I've never had before. And also, I was able to get into the PulseX sacrifice. And there are very big benevolent actors in PulseChain that, because of what I do for PulseChain, I'm not going to name his name. Well, there's two gentlemen that have offered, and I'm grateful for both of them because, unfortunately, there was something that happened with an OTZ deal I had with someone. I don't want to get into that because it's very depressing. Yeah, basically, I'll just say, unfortunately, the individual that gave me an OTC deal, he was one of the community members in PulseChain that passed away. Yeah, it's horrible. So I have these two literal angels in PulseChain that came up to me and said, listen, like, we'll back you up. We'll give you the same sacrifice rate that you were supposed to get. We see what you're doing for PulseChain, and we just don't think it's fair that you're not going to be involved in PulseChain because of this set of circumstances, just because of false timing.
Wow.
So
that's amazing.
Yeah, this is a community that I don't know. I'm a misanthropist by nature, so this kindness is kind of it's kind of surprising, to say the least. And I gotta say, man, that kindness, man, in this world, at least from my perspective, is kind of rare. So, those two people, they know who they are. They're not only setting me up for life, but they're also giving my friend in real life an opportunity to get involved. So that's how PulseChain and HEX has changed my life personally.
That's great, man. That's it does warm your soul when you hear people that are just doing acts of kindness. They're paying it forward. They're taking care of people in the community. They're making sure that people get the best deal they can, or at least get a fair shot at getting into what could be one of the most life-changing ways to get wealthy. And again, it's not about the money. It's not about the money. So what if you have a swimming pool of $1 billion and the only thing you can do is swim in it? How good is it?
Yeah,
it's not worth anything. If you're on a desert island in the middle of nowhere and you got $1 trillion, what are you going to do with it? You don't have a lighter to burn it. Like, what are you going to do with it? So money is a means to an end. I don't like when people say, "Oh, you all are greedy. You just care about the price." Yeah, that's how you get stuff done. If you look deep at it too, there's a reason you're around. I mean, a lot of people, they want to build, they have creative minds, they have ambition to build blockchain products and solve problems, and that's great. And this community is full of them. We have a lot of liquid loans, for example. I agree. Hopefully solving a taxation problem. I certainly hope so. I'm going to get some tax pros on here to discuss more. But if you have enough money, you can buy as many coffee mugs as you want. That's right, Jerry. Yeah, it's a means to an end, and I think a lot of people they have this surface level. I don't want to be a part of it because, is it like they think of it? Anything that people are in it for money, is it just automatic? Is that the scam detector? Is that what it is? Like they conflate people doing things for money that they're not too sure how they work with must be scam. Is that what you think it is?
Yeah, I appreciate that, Sweaty. Thank you.
Yeah, that's it's tragic because there's so many people. So there's things Richard talked about too. There's it's really hard to get people who are sold on their favorite crypto to come over to another crypto. Like that's one hard part of onboarding. Oh, this is my coin. I like this coin. I spent all this time. They have that sunk cost fallacy of their coin, and they want to stick with it.
Yeah.
And then the other part is just convincing people that it is possible to get wealthy if you invest in the right project, and it doesn't have to be a scam. It's just because the returns are so astronomically different and bigger than anything else you've ever did does not make it a scam. It does not. And I've even seen people, I've had friends ask me, oh, but what if it's a scam? What if it's, I'm talking about HEX or whatever. What if it's a scam? What if it's not?
I was just about to say that. What if it's not?
What if it's not? Like, why are you so pessimistic? What if it's not? And I don't say that blindly. No. I've been listening to Richard Heart for 5 years. I don't say it blindly. I don't think it's a scam. And if it is a scam, I'm not going broke. I'm not going to be homeless. I'm going to say, well done. That kind of sucks for everyone. Sucks for me too. But hey, I learned a lot along the way, and I got a lot of returns of knowledge and wisdom and being a better, smarter, stronger person in a lot of different directions. It took me on my wisdom journey that I've been on for the last few years, and I'm still on, and hopefully getting better and self-development, all that stuff. That's stuff that money can't buy. You got to want that, and you got to have somebody there. You got to have some, knowledge. You got to have the information available to make yourself better. And if nothing else, thanks for that. It could all be a scam. I'm better off for it if it is.
Yeah, it's true. Great. I agree with you 100%, man. That was very well put.
Appreciate it. Man, I think we're coming up. What else you got going on? What else you want to talk about? Anything you're particularly passionate about today?
I read, I weightlift, I work security with my dad. So I'm going Saturday. I'm doing boxing. So I'll be in front row watching a boxing match.
Nice.
I'm doing security. I enjoy weightlifting. I'm a big firearms enthusiast, a big history buff, and I play a lot of video games.
You talked about What If List, and I think if anyone's interested in alternate history, or actually Alternate History Hub is one of my all-time favorites. I love him.
I literally watched him at the gym today. I actually have on my, if I press YouTube right now, this is what shows up. I don't know if you can see that, but his new video about the new continent in the Pacific.
Oh, okay. Yep. I saw that come out today. Yep.
So I watch him religiously. Same thing with What Faithist. So.
Oh, okay. What Faithist? I'll check that one out. So if anyone's into history, into understanding modern, ancient, medieval, woke culture, he does a lot of social, left versus right stuff that's actually really good. Understanding social justice is another video that I would recommend if you're interested in like a deep dive into that, understanding the intricacies there. He's great. I think there's people out there they're putting themselves out there, and they're really making content because they want to help people. They want to help people. They don't want to brainwash you. They want to give you. He has a lot of objectives. I mean, he does admit he is on the right in a lot of ways. But he does very objective stuff. I mean, that's what I want. That's the content I like the best, when you show both sides and you let people decide which one they believe. That's what I like the most. It's not pushing an agenda. It is, hey, here are the facts. Here's the way I understand things to be. Now take the information, do with it what you wish. That's what I love about content like that.
Yeah, I'm a big history buff. I love alternate history. One of my favorite shows was Man in the High Castle. Harry Turtledove interests me about his alternate history perspectives, about like what if the South won the Civil War? What if the Axis powers won World War II? What if the Roman Empire never existed? What if the United States? what if the United States was a monarchy? Like, I love
Yeah.
alternate history.
Wasn't the Game of Thrones directors, weren't they going to do something like if the South won the Civil War, weren't they working on some project? I heard about that a couple years ago.
I'm not sure. I did watch Game of Thrones, but I'm not really sure. I mean, the only thing outside of Game of Thrones that I'm passionate that I like that George R. R. Martin made was Elden Ring, which I was addicted for like 2 months.
Oh, nice.
So, but yeah, man, those are my hobbies. Just a dude that likes to chill. I mean, I'm going to Gettysburg July 1st, so if any Hexicans are going to be there, you may see me in a cringy Union outfit, walking around with a black powder pistol. So, yeah, I'll be there July 1st to the 3rd.
Hey, one more question before I get you out of here.
Yeah.
What PulseChain next 2, 3, 5 years? What is like what is in your mind? Like, what is the best and the worst case for it? Like, maybe the best case will it flip Ethereum, or will it even exist? Like, on that spectrum, like what do you think, PulseChain?
Okay, best case scenario, we have developers that are enticed by the low fees, by Richard Hart's enthusiasm, by the community within the Hex community, and we see PulseChain become a top 10 layer 1 solution. We have a community behind it that has the potential to onboard new users. I mean, hell, like I've interviewed like 16 different projects already looking to launch on PulseChain. So, and this blockchain hasn't even launched yet. So the best case scenario, this layer 1 is adopted. It has a thriving ecosystem. It allows for third-party projects to embrace developers coming in, and we see a massive price valuation. The worst case scenario is that people think that PulseChain is irrelevant because of Ethereum 2.0, even though there's a 32 Ethereum gatekeeping right there for staking. But the worst case scenario, I think, is that we have a gatekeeping ethos in HEX. And I've seen this happen before, where third-party projects want to launch on a platform, but the pre-existing maximalists in the community refuse to accept them, and they just say, all right, screw you, I'm just going to go to another chain. My biggest fear for PulseChain is that it's just going to be a bunch of Hexicans exchanging hands with PHEX, PulseChain, and PulseX, and the projects that are launching on it, like the projects that exist right now that are created predominantly from the Hex community. So that's my fear, is that maximalism is going to destroy it, or even worse, PulseChain launches prematurely. There's a crap load of bugs in it, and then because we're already a reviled and gay-kept community in crypto, we see every single influencer in crypto going against PulseChain, outlining how it's a failure, and then PulseChain basically becomes like a isolated semi-ghost chain that's only relevant to Hexicans. So that's the worst case fear, in my opinion. And
so how do you fix the adoption thing? As far as it being saturated with Hexicans and their projects, is the NFTs solve that?
Does what solve that?
Did NFTs solve that?
Did you say I'm sorry, NFTs?
NFTs, yeah. Like, do they solve that? Like spreading it out, getting more people interested outside of our community?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you have a bunch of different NFT projects launching on PulseChain. You have NFTs on Pulse. You have Mintra. You have Pulseverse. You have the PulseCins creating their own PulseChain oriented ecosystem. You have Love.io, who actually just unboarded like 5 different NFT artists that wasn't even aware of PulseChain or Hex at the time. I think that garnering the thing about NFTs though is that it's such a saturated market right now. Like everyone can make an NFT, and anybody can make it on Solana, BSC, Ethereum, AVAX, any layer 1 you could think of. So I think that the uniqueness of NFTs isn't enough for PulseChain to be adopted. It helps. It'll definitely create a mind state. It'll definitely create, not a mind state. It'll definitely create an ethos of expansion. But we need more. We need unique projects. We need projects. Right now, I'm noticing a lot of projects I'm interviewing are projects that are just focused on Hex and PulseChain, that are just focused on the pre-existing community. And that's fine. But like cryptocurrency projects, when they become echo chambers, it becomes dangerous, because then there's no justification for the influx of outside capital.
Yeah,
So
it's hard to bring new money in.
Yeah, I think that a lot of these new projects that launch need to be focused on getting new capital in, instead of just saying, okay, this whale is going to trade with this fish, and this fish is going to trade with this squid, and this squid's going to trade with this shark that's been in HEX for 2 years. And I also think that Richard Hart's outrage marketing is working in a lot of ways, but I spoke about this with Fashion Coder. I'm not sure if the conservative, old school, like Christian demographic with the money they have are going to be enticed by like twerking and stuff like that. Like, yeah, like flexing is getting so much SEO optimization. You're seeing that. You're seeing a lot of people either hating or loving him, and regardless of the hate, they still follow him, which is giving HEX and PulseChain a lot of influence. But I think that once PulseChain and PulseX launches, the idealism needs to be more serious and more developmentally focused. Like I really think that right now we need to realize that PulseChain and PulseX, in order to garner mass adoption, is to actually become adopted. Yeah.
Well, so on the doubling the coins too, how do you think doubling coins of projects that are on Ethereum that may be more profitable to run on PulseChain, such as Decentraland, Mana, and all that stuff? Do you think that plays a role into getting people to come over? How well do you think that's going to work?
I think it's a very enticing prospect that these fees are much cheaper, where you don't have to take a mortgage out for a transaction like on Ethereum. But the thing is, you have to be better than that, because there are layer ones out there that are extremely cheap in their transaction fees. Like there are those out there like cheap. Like, don't get me wrong, PulseChain's transactions are incredibly cheap, and that's an enticing prospect for a lot of developers that don't want to launch on Ethereum because it's just too damn expensive and their project would die. But you need to give them another value prospect besides that, in my opinion. It's a nice business pitch, but there needs to be more. There needs to be a realization that this community will adopt their project, this community will support their project, there's a user base, and like that's what I think. I think that PulseChain needs to be marketed. I think PulseChain needs to be, people need to be able to garner their niche. Like Richard Hart right now is doing the outrage marketing for retail investors that want to be like him, that want to have the money, that want to have the ability to garner any women they want. But there has to be those content creators that are more focused on other demographics, like the older generations or the more conservative generations, or those who may not have much money to even put in. Like what he's doing is fantastic, but unfortunately it's creating a lot of envy amongst traders that are just going to stay away from this project simply because of that. So I think that once PulseChain and PulseX launches, we really need to, as a community, create this force that entices all demographics.
Well, do you think on the doubling the coins too, do you think that a lot of the whales with the other coins, if those projects can work on PulseChain, that would be the leg up versus creating NFT, creating cheap transaction fees you get on all these other networks? Do you think the biggest pump-a-middle, the biggest thing that could take people over to PulseChain for adoption would be, hey, I got a ton of Mana, I got a ton of XYZ, and now I have influence in the community. Why don't we just switch over to PulseChain, see how it works, and then we use our coins over there, we get a market price. Like, I just don't see how that fails. It just doesn't seem like, what is the worst case scenario? Is the worst case like none of the coins are worth anything close to their value on ETH, and it's just a big joke? Like, what? You
guys for the best and worst case scenario?
Sure.
So the best case scenario is that these projects give PRC20s legitimate use case, legitimate utility that'll actually create a value proposition without just being a copy. So you have these projects that give these PRC20s utility. I also think that the prospect of forking these coins over to Ethereum, over to PulseChain, we need to prove to them that they can create value through their ERC20 tokens that are converted to PRC20s. Because if they're starting at zero, it's basically like someone saying to me, here is a bunch of Canadian pennies, here's a bunch of American pennies, here's a bunch of European pennies. I have to create value out of those things. Like, they have no value unless I make value out of them. So I think that more adoption needs to happen. I think more applications need to be launched that are geared towards PRC20 utilization. Because, like I said, I don't want to see, for example, like just PulseChain. What were we going to say?
I just want to say on that analogy, the pennies analogy, that's interesting, because what if you had, let's just say, hey, we're starting a new country, we're starting Libertarianville, and you got all those US dollars, you get the same dollar, you get double your dollars, you can just get the same thing in Libertarianville. So now, aren't you going to be enticed to go check out, the new place because you got some money to spend there?
Oh yeah, I would be hugely enticed if it was actually worth $1. I would actually be hugely enticed.
Well, even if it was worth $100, wouldn't you still be like, well, I still got a lot of them. I wonder what I can buy there.
Yeah, definitely. I think it would definitely breed a lot of interest. I do. I definitely think it'll breed a lot of interest. If you have a crap load of mana, or if you have a crap load of any ERC20, and you see opportunity where you can garner some capital, garner some fresh capital from that money, from the PRC20s, of course, absolutely. But I think there has to be an avenue from our network to go outside of our network. I see HEX as being a very, 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 and this is a good thing in a lot of ways, a tight niche community. But I also think that tribalism only goes so far. Like, civilization works and operates the way it does now because cultures are interconnected. Civilizations are interconnected. Tribes, if you will, are interconnected. That needs to happen with HEX and PulseChain. Like that needs to happen. And that's why I'm doing it. That's why personally I'm doing my channel with different projects. And like you said, you're interested in other projects as well. You got to bring people in. You have to, and you can give them all of these pitches, and you can also give them all of these enticing prospects. And there's a big chance that it'll be adopted from that. But I think that we need to stop gatekeeping ourselves. That's the important prospect here.
I certainly hope so. I certainly hope we're able to build these bridges, have these people come over because they see this value, not because, there's smoke and mirrors, because they see it makes sense to come over to PulseChain. And I want to take my project there. I want to tell my people about it. I want to make sure that PulseChain is not gatekept, and it's not gatekept from the inside out either. It makes a lot of sense, man. That was a great, I definitely like to dig into some of those points. I think we hit some pretty good ones there.
Yeah.
I'm tired. I'm a little hungry. It's about dinner time for me. I think
do your thing, brother.
Call it quits here. It's been a pleasure, Corey. Really appreciate you coming on.
Likewise.
Tons of good content. We got the chat was killing it too, and they appreciated it. You got some great stories, man. You're having some great guests on.
Thanks, dude.
You may have the 5555 subs coming up. Especially, and you're in the bear market right now. Imagine if you're in the bull market. You may already have it.
Yeah, that would be lovely, man. I really hope so. And guys, like I said, anybody who's watching, subscribe to RHMax's content. Like these, I'm going to emphasize it again. These are the people that are educating the new people coming in. These are the people that take the time out of their day to make free content for you. Subscribe. Click the button. It takes 2 seconds to click a button. Click it. Subscribe. Support him. Follow him on Twitter. Follow him and make sure that you follow all of these new YouTubers that are just not, lack of a better word, BSing you. Like people like him are doing this, like you said before, for free. At least give some reciprocity here. Like, at least press the button.
Yeah, exactly. And what's your Twitter handle?
What's my Twitter handle?
Yeah,
It's at CoreyCosta123.
that's what I thought. I want to make sure. I wanted to highlight you as well. Go follow Corey. He could always use some more followers as well. Y'all, I appreciate your time. I appreciate your support.
Of
I
course.
appreciate you putting the message out, man. It's been a great chat.
Yeah,
Matt
dude.
S is going to, we're going to see. PulseChain is going to launch eventually. Don't worry about it. We're in a bear market. Be nice to everybody. Don't create drama if you can help it. Stay out of it if you can help it. Focus on the positive. Hey, life's too short to not be happy. So we're going to end it there. Thanks, Jerry. Jerry, getting better. You're learning. Jerry's a very avid watcher of a lot of different streams. So you watch and listen to enough content, you'll learn something, man. So you keep up the good work. We're all learning here. We're all learning. None of us.
Yeah, guys.
There are no adults. We're all just making up as we go. So.
Yes, that's true.
Yes, that's a Naval Ravikant quote. I must credit him. He's got some killers. All right, that's the end of the show. We'll do the outro, and until next time, thanks everyone. Corey, have an excellent rest of your evening. And,
yeah, dude, thank you so much. And if you ever want me back on, man, I'll hit me up, and we'll get it going, man. Thanks a lot.
Definitely want you back on. We'll have to set that up. Yeah, have a good one, man. Rest up, and I'll see you later.
All right, peace out, dude.
Yeah.
Take care, everyone.